Merry Questmas, everybody. Today it's almost Christmas. It's Christmas Eve here in Bongistan, and across the pond in Australia it's actually Christmas Day. So Merry Questmas to you guys. Today I thought I'd do something a bit festive, a bit fun, and I'll give you some albums you have to check out for the festive season. You know, for the season of drinking all the eggnog and eating all the cakes and all that meat and stuff. And you need some music to go along with you. And what better music than black metal? That's right. What better music than the blackest of the black? Because we don't care about that kind of shit. You know, we want this shit. We want some Inquisition, some Shuda, as people told me in the comments. You know, we want some black metal for the holiday season, because it's wintry, it's cold, it's icy, and we want to have a good time with some good fucking music, and all that fucking Christmas bollocks can go suck a dick. Yeah, so we don't want any Christmas songs, we want some black metal today. I'm going to give you the best black metal albums for Christmas time. So sit back, relax, grab your whiskey or your rum, and let's have some fun. Let's start off with probably the most obvious pick on this entire list, and it'll be in everyone's picks when they do top wintry black metal albums. And that's, of course, Immortal's at the heart of winter. Can't talk about this list without Immortal. You know, they're one of the coldest bands around, not quite in sound, but in theatrics, and the whole atmosphere, and the lyrics, you know, just everything they have with a fake mystical land that they have. It's great fun. Out of the Heart of Winter is probably the most cold album they've got. It's definitely the most, like, I don't want to say progressive, but the songs are a lot longer than usual. There's more intricacies in them, and it's the easy pick. It's like the brain dead pick. The rest of my picks, more thought in them, maybe, kind of. This one is like, it's got to be here. So let's talk about it. Let's shoehorn it in. Throw it in right at the start. Let's get out the fucking way. And let's move on to my favourite ones. Starting with Lunar Poetry by Nocturnal Mortum. Yeah. This is my favourite Nocturnal Mortum album. This has the atmosphere. This has that icy cold. Just wind chilling your face. Kind of like in the remake to Lunar Poetry, where it's got like that icy cold witches looking like some Left 4 Dead shit with like that ice cold wind on the actual cover. And then you got the old stuff with the frozen trees, which is what I've got physical, but it's behind the green screen, so I'm not going to fucking show you. I love it. One of my favourites. The melodies are so funky and fun. Ukraine knows how to do catchy ass black metal. It's not the only Ukrainian band on here. We will go next over to Hate Forest with Purity. A lot of Hate Forest albums I could pick here. There's a lot of good ones. Battlefields is good. Hour of the Centaur actually came out last Christmas time, or well, the time before that, which I reviewed on the channel. Love it. But Purity just has that icy cold atmosphere, you know? It's pummeling, it's a lot more heavy than a lot of the other albums I'm going to pick here. Not as atmospheric, but it still has that mood. You know, that December mood? That mood where it's like, I want to go to the mountains and just slam my face into rocks, into a bloody pulp. That's this album. It's ferocious, it's catchy as hell. You know, it manages to be catchy while still staying ferocious the whole way through. And, you know, it's not as, like, softer as, like, Nocturnal Mortum's or some of the other albums I'm going to mention, or Immortal and stuff like that, but it still has atmosphere. It still has thick, rich atmosphere, and I love this album to pieces. So, Hate Forest, Purity, bloody banger, and you should be listening to that while eating your Christmas din-dins. Next up, we're sticking with Ukraine, Croda with Fimbulvinter. This has that signature Ukrainian goodness. Croda is so good, and this one is just it's the icy album. Of course I'm going to pick it. It has those unique melodies that you come to expect with bands like Lucifugum and Nocturnal Mortum and Druk, bands of that nature. And there isn't actually a Druk album on here. Surprising. They've got a lot of nature albums, you know, Autumn, Aurora, and Forgotten Legends and Swan Road and stuff, but not really an Icy Cold album. They need to change that. But, hey, Croda's here to pick up the mess, because they do have an icy album, and this album is just pure fun. Fun, fun, catchy riffs, catchy melodies. The vocal style is perfect. It's one of my favourite bands in the country, and I'll always represent, good bands and good black metal bands, and Croda is one of them. I love them to pieces. Croda, very good stuff. Next up, we have Setherial with Nord. This is a more catchy album. Catchier than the last couple of ones I was mentioning. The melodies in this one, the melodies are the key. Like, the melodies are so damn infectious and groovy in this album. Oh no, not groovy. Austin Powers is taking over. It has a more, like, symphonic kind of sound, kind of like Emperor. It has a more similar sound to that than the last couple of bands I was mentioning, like Hate Forest and Croda and Nocturnal Mortum, which were more of a folky, atmospheric-y kind of sound. This is more in the lines of like an Emperor, which I love. So it's good to have different varying albums on this list, not just all the same folky nonsense. We have some melodic shit too. And it's a classic. It's one of my favourites of all time, so I've got to rep it on this list about Christmas stuff. More raw energy for the winter. We want to be running on the ice. And we have campfars with, I never pronounce this name right, Mellom Skogkledde Aaser. Yeah, it's the debut. It's the one with the ice on. You sensing a theme here? You fucking should be. I love this album. This is a very intense album, but it still captures that lovely wintry sound. But it is a bit more intense, more on the Hate Forest kind of side of things. Not quite as intense, but similar. Again, great vocals. Campfar's very underrated. Not a lot of people mention them. I don't see a lot of YouTubers talking about CampfFar like some of the best black metal. I think they are. Even the newer stuff are like bloody bangers, and this is probably my favourite. I will do a ranking in the coming years, so stick out for that. But I do love this album to pieces. It's one of my favourites, and it seems like a lot of my favourite albums by the bands happen to be the Icy Cold ones. Just like Nord is debut, which ultima thule is ultimately my favourite Nord album. If you've seen my ranking, this just feels like you're in a snowstorm. It feels like you are in the wilderness, in the trees with the snow pounding down on you, and it's just perfect. They have so many good atmospheric albums. You got the ones that like take you to space, like Hallucinogen. You got the ones that give you nightmare fuel, like Disharmonium. You got the more industrial stuff in the middle era, and you got the more just classic atmospheric stuff. But this is the only one that sounds unique to itself. It is very just, you're in the plains on the snow, kind of like in Skyrim, where you go to the very top of the map, and it's kind of where Hermaeus Mora is, and you just got like sheets of ice everywhere. That's how I feel when I listen to this album, and that's probably the best description for all you fucking nerds out there. It's like the entrance to Hermaeus Mora's little ice cave in Skyrim. There you go. That's what you get. Some nerd shit. Next up, we have Sorcier, the Glaces. Probably said that wrong. This, with Snowland, I've got to say the name of the album, Questy. This album is very raw, very grainy, and very just harrowing, but it's so good. It's so good for winter, and it's so good for Christmas. It might not be for everyone, because it's a bit more on the raw side, but it is for me. I like my raw shit just as much as I like my melodic stuff, just as much as I like my atmospheric stuff. They're all good. You could have all the foods in the food libraries. All the food groups. Same with metal. Can't just like black metal. You gotta like all of them. Well, you don't have to like anything. Don't do what Questy tells you, basically. No, but I like the raw shit as well. This is probably the rawest one on the entire list. Say from maybe the next one, but it's so good. It's so catchy, and the vocals are very different. The vocals are very different on this one, but I do think it fits the mood. And again, it's fresh and it's fun, and we want more variation for Christmas. Just like my next one, Paysage the Dhiver. You can't have a list about wintry stuff without Paysage the Dhiver, can I? No. The name literally means winter. Yeah. I love them. I could pick any of them. I could pick Das Toll. I could pick the debut, the fucking self-titled. But I'm not. I'm picking Winterkälte. Of course I am. It's got winter in the name. This feels like, I know it's the same members, but it feels like a dark space just came down, crash landed on an ice planet, and then it started playing in music. I love it. It's just got that. It's got that raw sound, kind of like Sorcier. It's got the raw sound, but in a more beautiful way, if you know what I mean. It's in a more, I don't want to say angelic, it's in a more euphoric sounding way, and it just kind of it bashes you over the head with the constant just and you're just like, woo, transfixed into the music, and you get lost in it, lost in the thick snow of paysage dhiver. I definitely said that wrong, but I love it, and this is one of my favourite albums and one of my favourite bands of all time, so gotta mention them here. And I will leave you with the final one. The Peace Delist, the best album to listen to at Christmas, the best winter album of all time, is Windir with Arntor. Arntor, a warrior. You gotta do a man of war shit, you gotta rip your shirt off, fists to the sky. It's so good. Valfar literally died in a snowstorm, so how can I not put this fucking here? This is the best. It is the most icy cold. You could have Lickford, but that's a bit more depressing. 1184 is a good one. A bit more catchy, dancey. Arntor is the snow album. It is. It is the best winter album of all time. It's one of my favourite albums of all time. It's probably the best black metal album of all time. It's fucking great. Anyone who doesn't like it, don't know what to say. They probably like other stuff more. That's probably all you can say. They like other stuff more. What can you do? You just pity them. Pity them, spit on them. But yeah, I love it. It's one of the best of all time, and I'm going to listen to it at Christmas time, and you should too. So those have been some albums of the wintry period for you guys to check out at Christmas time. Hopefully you guys all have a great and jolly Christmas, but not too jolly. You know, you be happy, but not too happy. We are listening to black metal, of course. But yeah, enjoy all your food and celebrations, and drink lots of alcohol, because I sure will. Hopefully you have a good time, and we'll see you in the new year with other stuff, because we're going back to the best of the months. Yeah, that's bringing back more black metal lists, more black metal rankings, more black. So let me know what you thought of my albums down below. Put your own as well, and have yourselves a great holiday season. Goodbye.